Good evening and welcome to tonight's main podcast with my friends, Smarty and Luke. Smarty, how are you doing?
Friends?
Friends?
I feel
You're throwing that F-bomb round a bit loosely, are you?
That's nice, isn't it? Oh, that's nice. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
All right. Luke, how are you?
Yeah.
Just fucking
I am
it's a
very-
room
yes.
of positivity
I am
this
very
evening,
feels.
isn't it?
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll get an intro running and we'll get into it.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and then you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds hating bastard.
Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No.
He's a utensil player a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
So we've said before, actually, that we've hamstrung ourselves with nothing spectacular, really, and I think recently we can actually put that to bed, because I think the ending to the Preston game was pretty spectacular, I would say. But the first thing I want to do is I just want to get into a bit of this.
Ought to know better predictions.
Like clockwork, this shit. He's already in the comments and he's already extolling the virtues of the prediction that he gave us. But John Garside from the fans gave us a 4-0 Leeds prediction. I went 3-1. Smarty went 2-0. Luke went 3-0. Carl went 2-0. Jay went 5-1. And Bren went 3-0, which results in us all getting 1 point. And the league table is exactly as it was, but with 1 point extra each.
Sound.
Fichier.
I'll do it
That's French for you really pissed me off.
Say it again.
I'm sorry.
To ma fichier.
Can you say it with a French accent?
To ma fichier.
No, that's an Italian accent, surely.
Even
that'd be-
and we're-
To be fair,
and
it's
we're
Carl's
Italian, innit?
Italian accent.
What?
Carl's Italian accent's the worst accent I've ever heard. And he says
What, you're a great
Italian.
set of lads.
That Italian accent. I'm from
That's the
Italy.
one. We were at the game, Smarty. You've had an opportunity to already speak about the game. So just a couple of days on now, reflecting on the game and how it went and how it ended, and looking back, how do you feel about the overall game?
Well, 3 points is 3 points, isn't it? And out. As we said, myself and Carl and Danny from NELP was with us on Sunday. It were an absolute shit show from them. I mean, I don't know what sort of game they were trying to employ or whatever, but I think they just came to try and bully us and just try and well, I don't know. It was very, very scrappy. And quite frustrating from our point of view. Our getting ready to leave Ellen Road, quite frustrated and very angry. But just so happens that we managed to turn it around right at the death. But it wasn't the best of games. The atmosphere were a little bit flat, as we've already said on Brett and Cole. But at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points. Quite a good few performances. I thought the referee was shit. I'm sure we'll go into a little bit more detail about that later on. We covered Ryan Lowe and obviously his jar of tears about obviously the VAR awarding not awarding us the penalty, etc., etc. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff I've seen on Twitter, but I think even from like Preston's perspective, I've seen fans saying it's absolutely a penalty, and there's no way it couldn't have been a penalty. So. I think there were obviously a lot of noise around that, but yeah, nothing really to write home about. It were a decent performance in the end, but it was scrappy, it was messy. I think we did well to keep our heads and not kind of go down to their level and start kicking lumps out of them, because you know damn well if we'd have started kicking shit out of them on field, we'd have been ended up with bloody load of red cards. Yeah. So we're just fortunate to keep everyone on the pitch and take 3 points away. So.
Fair.
So
yeah. No, that's fair. Luke, does it give an added dimension taking 3 points when somebody's turned up to just play anti-football, to just kick the players instead of kicking the ball, try and negate what it is that we do well and just not play football? Does it give it that extra something for you? And is that one of the reasons that we saw quite a lot of outpouring at full time.
Yeah, I mean, from what I listened to the first half an hour on the radio, and from what I saw, I don't think they played anti-football. I don't think we could say they were playing kick and chase like a Sean Dyche type style, shall we say. I thought they came at us and they tried playing a little bit of football, but yeah, in terms of what their actual whole ethos of that game was to up and spoil, and look, they did it well, and they almost came away with a point because of that. When we say anti-football, my view on that is sort of play along to a big lad and up and try and get us on the break. Well, I don't think they did that. The game was quite open, wasn't it? What they did do was spoil an old manners and play the keeper going down. When we had a bit of momentum, the keeper would go down, and so in that respect, yeah, it probably was a bit of anti-football, but sort of to respond to your question, does it show another side to us? I think that game and Cardiff are two very different yet very similar type of performances. I know we beat Cardiff quite comfortably, but Cardiff were that sort of anti-football shot, if you like. They were interested in getting down our end of the pitch. They were hoping to get a free kick on the edge of the box or something in a corner or something, and just try and nick something and sit back. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so they had to open up, and we ended up taking that game to them. Now, I felt the game was relatively similar from what I saw against Preston, but yeah, I think that's a game, and that and the Cardiff game are probably earlier on in the season games that we could have quite easily drawn or lost. So yeah, I think it has shown a little bit of flexibility, shall we say, in Daniel Farker and what we're doing. And yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It wasn't our best performance, I don't think, of the season, anywhere near, in fact. But we did enough, and the lads dug deep, and Gruev was throwing himself about. There was, Rodon did really, really well defensively up against the majority of the times he had it up against him. So yeah, I was quite happy with the performance. I don't think anyone had a poor performance per se. I just thought it was a tough game. And I think Preston came to do exactly that under Ryan Lowe. It's what we expected, really, isn't it? I think we did. I think Archie had a really good game, negating what's his name, the winger who had a good game. Miller. Yeah. So yeah, he sort of won the war, didn't he? Whereas Miller won the battle in the first game over there. I thought that was Archie's worst performance actually for us over at Preston away, and then he sort of made up for that against him at home. So yeah, all in all, mate, when you're not playing all that well and you're still beating a team like that, you can't really be unhappy, and that's what the best teams do.
It's about grinding out performances when you're not at your best in it, Yeah. And it's about time we turned them sort of scrappy performances into 3 points, because, like you said, typically we wouldn't have done. We would have probably drawn or even lost that. It'd have been quite easy for them to, go 1-0 up, which they did. And luckily for us, we scored relatively soon after. They could have set up shop and that were it then. I mean, whenever we were in possession, they set up with a bank of 7 straight away. It was like fucking Avengers Assemble. It was like... all of a sudden you had a complete bank of 7 players across it, just making us, obviously work that a little bit harder and making it hard for us to have those little interchanges of play. But yeah, we ground out a win. So, and it, like you said, it makes it sweeter because they tried to shithouse it and it fucking backfired. So bollocks to them. They did.
And that, were it McCann? So when I was talking about anti-football, you mentioned the keeper going down as though he were injured, but then he's fine 2 minutes later, but he's broken up our momentum at that point. There were a bit when Archie were running for the byline with one of it might have been McCann in midfield, and he gave him a nudge just at the right time so that Archie went over as he went over byline, and he fell into cameraman and slid into Audins. Yeah. And then Archie didn't want to shake his hand and all of that stuff. Now, he'd intentionally just give him that nudge at the wrong time to unbalance him, so that then that happened. So absolutely fine.
It was Robbie Brady.
With Brady. Well, I'm okay with Archie not wanting to shake his hand, and the referee gets involved in all of that bullshit, and it was a bit of handbags. But I think just from a perspective of standing up against that, with no help at all from the ref, none whatsoever. There were no protection again from our players. Eh?
I thought I said piz.
Smash a like this.
Smash a like piz. I went, what? Let's go and get my bloody readers on. Can't speak.
But yeah, I think I put in one at WhatsApp, so I was leaving ground. I've never been more frustrated at a win because of the way that the game has gone. I don't think it was a bad performance. I thought we played pretty well. On another day, Dan James gets that lob right. I think Rutter hit the post. There's marginal bits that could have gone slightly differently. They had, Luke, you said about getting something and then sitting back. Well, in their eyes, they probably got their goal a bit too early because it gave us then that impetus. We went straight back and hit him again, and then actually, I think that the conditions were a bit of a leveler because it was breezing. It was quite difficult to play football, but I thought we played overall. I thought we played well enough to take 3 points, and I think the comments around a fair result would have been the draw, and it shouldn't have been a penalty, and all of that sort of stuff. He's their gaffer just trying to make light of the fact that they'd actually been outplayed by a side that was significantly better than they were, which I don't begrudge him for. I think that's part of his job, isn't it? Is then getting them ready for next game and whatever else, and trying to take the shine off what we've done well and not harm their chances of doing well beyond that. So that's all right. I think they would have been upper mid-table if they'd have beaten us. So it's not like they're a terrible team. I think they would have been about where Norwich are. And there's a couple of comments that we've had already about being a bit nervous about tomorrow night. We'll come on to that as we go on, but just to touch on the ref, I don't like to touch on the ref too much, especially when we've had an ex-ref on here and he was very sympathetic towards refs as well and gave us a bit of a different perspective at times. It was abject though, wasn't it? I mean, not just the ref. The liner that were in front of us didn't flag for anything until after the ref had given it, for example, and they were just complete inept performance from the officials, and I just thought I don't want VAR. I just want them to be capable of doing the job. I think you watched the second half on TV, Luke. Did it come across that bad watching it on telly?
Yeah, so I caught the last 15 of the first half, the second, and the all of the second half on telly. But it was frustrating more than anything. There was a few decisions I thought he did quite well with when he, obviously the big shout at the end takes some balls to put your hand up and actually say that's an handball in the 92nd minute and give a penalty. But it was a penalty. But it does, as a referee, does take some balls to see that, and he's not to give that. But he's not only got to give it; he's got to have seen it. So he's got to be, in the right positioning and everything. There was a couple of things I didn't really get. There was the Paddy Bamford yellow card. There was a few bits and pieces that I thought. But
was that during the handbags moment in centre of field?
Yeah, it was. But it come off their player actually absolutely going through. Was it Ampadu? Gruev, it was Gruev, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he'd gone through and he'd absolutely battered him and he'd gone out to hurt him. Do you know what I mean? It could have on another day been a potentially red card. And if VAR was there, now I don't like VAR, I don't want VAR at games. It's much better to be able to celebrate a goal and just look at a linesman rather than have to wait 5 minutes for a VAR check to go up. And I'm not saying by any stretch that I want VAR in there, but I think VAR would have benefited us in this league, and you can see why. You can see why there's almost an unconscious bias to the better sides in the Premier League with VAR, because they play better football and almost lose out on some decisions because they have got better footballers. So, but yeah, fuck them anyway. I don't like any of them up at the top of the Premier League. But yeah, I think VAR would have benefited us much more this season than it would have done last, for instance. But it was an average ref performance. I don't think it was. I've seen worse, but I've certainly seen better. And at this level, they're never going to get it all right, and minus VAR as well. So yeah, I don't think it was the worst refereeing performance I've ever seen.
Fair enough. I think there were one that I hadn't seen, but you do expect liners to be hot on this. Is their keeper blatantly handled the ball outside the area?
Yeah. See, I'd not seen that until after the podcast on Sunday. Someone pointed it out to me, and he were a good couple of foot over the line. He
was. Now, I went in cop, So I'm behind the goal. I'm in line with what's going on. It's really difficult to get that depth. But that's why the liners are on the side. They should be picking that up. For me, there's no excuse for them not seeing that. It was so far out as well that they've got to pick up on that. I thought it was abject. I actually thought it was the worst referee performance of the season that I've seen. And that takes some doing. But it was just so frustrating. And that's why I would say, actually, this is the most frustrated I've ever been at a win. Because usually all of that frustration goes, especially in the throes of the celebrations, which were amazing. I was at the front of the Kop on the NEL side, so all of that went off right in frent of me. It was brilliant.
You're not the one who had his phone out, are you?
I am not. I am not one of the ones that had the phone out. No chance.
See, I made
but
John
to be fair, they got lost
Leeds
anyway.
TikTok, though.
He did.
Yeah, didn't he?
He did.
He's been TikTok famous for a couple of days.
Yeah, he messaged me earlier, and I've edited the video for him, so it's just that little bit of him and Dan James just having a little bit of a cuddle.
Have you put Titanic music on Celine Dion?
I have not. I hate that shit. No, I hate that music.
That shit deserves to get fucking binned straight off. That Titanic shite, get fucked.
If you're going to do any of it, use string for Yasmin.
The only decision I didn't mention earlier, sorry, I've seen a few people mention it in the chat, is the Junior Firpo yellow card when he'd already made the challenge, didn't blow for a foul, didn't blow up for a foul, and then the Preston player stayed down and decided, actually it's a yellow card, is that? He was shy.
Yellow card.
He was shy, but the level of I think the standard of refereeing at this level is shy anyway. I think we could probably count on one hand over the 26 games we've had this season, something like that.
Yeah, 27.
28 now, isn't it? 28.
28
now. 28 games we've had this season. I probably could count on one hand half decent refereeing performances, which is bad, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? At this level. It's one of them, mate.
It's same old, though, isn't it, mate? I mean, you've got the dickheads in Premier League that rely too heavily on VAR, and then you've got arseholes in this league who dare fucking raise a flag. And in fact, there were a couple of instances on Sunday where the liner were looking at the referee thinking, I don't know. They were both looking at each other. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what decision to make. And it were like, you are paid to do this fucking job. It's like Rodon when he got pushed in back and they gave a frigging corner for it. I was looking at him. I was like, obviously you can't hear me, but I wish you bloody could. I was telling him to go
exactly the same situation. Yeah,
exactly.
When we were attacking the Kop end, there were one where one of their players had nodded the ball out for a corner, completely unchallenged. No Leeds player anywhere near him, and the liner didn't give anything. And the ref's looking at the liner still gives nothing. So the ref gives a goal kick. Because what else is he going to do if the liner's not giving him the decision? But that is what he's there for. And that I think that with the culmination of Rutter getting booked and not the keeper because I'd not seen that incident, but the
do you mean where Rutter dived?
Yeah. Yeah. You have put something in the brand from the last one, have you? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, but I think you've got it on you.
No.
Get rid of it. Oh, there it is. There you go. Then.
I'm just faster than you.
That's where he dived. Yeah,
that's the dive. Obviously, there's no contact there other than that foot that's right flush on top of his ankle.
Yeah. By a shit Luke Ayling looking wannabe bastard.
Yes, and there were a few of them. There were some very bad man buns, weren't there? Yeah. And potentially the worst keeper that I've seen come to Elland Road. He was absolutely terrible. But on the other side, and you just mentioned his name, Firpo. Now, what's that? 4 assists in 3 games?
What a player.
Firpo.
Honestly, best left back we've ever had at clubbing.
What a lecker. I told you this all along. I said it at the start of the season.
You did.
And nobody was having it. I said, get him fit and get him in a team that is on the attacking foot for 80% of a game, and he will flourish. He will look good in this lineup. And
he still can't tackle like
ridiculed.
He still can't tackle.
Ridiculed me.
But
I think on the pod though, didn't we all agree?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
On Twitter, you got some shit for it, but I think on here we all agreed.
Some right.
Yeah, but it was being on the front foot that we needed to have, and rather than him having to do with all the defending.
Yeah, and you say that defensively he was good against Preston. What I saw, he made some.
Yeah, my only point is that they didn't really offer much.
It didn't really get a right lot. Everything went down Miller's side.
Yeah,
we neutralised them quite well, though. I think.
We did
when they tried to attack.
Yeah.
But I just think, basing, Firpo on his defending stats aren't going to be nowhere near as well as he is going forward, which we knew. Barcelona signed him for a reason. It wasn't because he just looked nice.
Because they control 90% of games, yeah.
yeah, I should have said the Barcelona. But yeah, they signed him because he was a decent player. We lifted him off him. He's always shown potential. He's always shown little glimpses on it, but he's just never had any consistency. And down in this level, at this, in the Championship, he should be by rights pissing all over everyone in this league, just like a few of them or should be doing. Dan James for one, Somerville. They're all a class above, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, so. And you can see that. But the players that we're trying to outdo are the ones at Leicester. The ones at Southampton, it's not the ones at Cardiff and Millwall, is it? This level, there should be bossing sides like that. I think the frustration is when you come up against a Sheff Wednesday or a Birmingham and you don't take 3 points because they're abject sides, and we ought to be. And that's what could result in it coming round and biting us is the results against those sides. Having said that, I think if you look at the table, I think it was without the first 3 games for any sides in the league, we'd be second. So we knew that we were off to a poor start, and we knew that might hamper us. But equally, we couldn't change that because of everything, the madness that were going on at the start of the season.
Yeah.
While we mentioned that, then our squad, as it looks at the moment, is weaker than it was. And the reason I say that is we already had some of the players that have come back from injury. So, all right, the first team has changed how it looks and feels because we've got Firpo, we've got Byram that are available, or in Byram's case, still coming back in. But the side looks a bit different. We don't have Cooper and Stroik at the moment. Firpo's come back. Byram's coming back. Gruev's playing in midfield. We've got Kamara in there as well. If we look at the moves and changes in the transfer window, it's been outgoings. Luke, I'll come to you first. Is that something that worries you?
Not particularly, no. I think the 49ers have shown how astute they can be in the market with the players we brought in the summer and the play in comparison or in ratio to the players that we've lost. So no, it doesn't concern me all that much. I think we've probably got a few plugs to be pulled as and when we need to. We've probably got top level targets, maybe 2 or 3 of those, and then it depends if we get our top targets as to whether we go to a second. I don't want to be signing players for players' sake either. It's going to be very, very difficult to keep people happy. We've got a steady starting 11 now, I think, almost. And if we're going to be signing anybody, we'd probably want to bring them in to improve that starting 11. This stage of a season, that's going to be very difficult to do. When people have been working under Farker for so long, and there's a number of reasons why that would be difficult, fitness and whatever else. Now, players who are going to be coming in on loan, which I understand is probably the market where we're probably tinkering within the majority. They're going to be wanting these players and their clubs are going to be wanting to be guaranteed playing time, and that's something we haven't got the novelty. We haven't got that. Your Hull Cities and West Broms and other teams like that, and have got that. They've got that. They can say to Fabio Carvalho, say, right, you come in, you'll be playing 99% of our games if you're fit. They could say that. How could we? There's no, as far as I understand, there's no option to buy him. So they're effectively training up and giving experience to a player that's not going to be here in the summer, regardless. So no, it doesn't concern me. Do I think we could strengthen in areas? Absolutely, and I think there's we've seen that in games this season. We know that Firpo's probably not going to last the season. We know Bamford probably won't last the rest of the season. Byram, and we have got a few injury-prone players in there. So yeah, absolutely think we could. But it's about going about it in the right manner for me. So yeah, not worried at this stage. Unless we get a couple of injuries tomorrow night, then I think we might pull a plug on 1 or 2. Do you know what I mean? We're almost. I think we're in a good position as a club currently to be able to actually not be dictated to and actually just be bringing players in for the sake of it. Your Weston McKennie's, who we all thought was going to be great, your Max Verber and things like that. So yeah, I don't want to panic buy or panic loan or anything like that. It's just somebody just to sit on the bench and not improve us. I want to bring players in that are actually going to help us push towards those automatics.
Fair.
Who are very difficult to find and achieve at this stage of the season.
Yeah, everybody wants them. Anybody that's available that is good enough at that level is fully in demand anyway out there. And if you look at how abject the bottom sides of the Premier League are, anybody that's capable of playing in the Premier League is who we're targeting. But if they're capable at that level and would go to the Championship, those sides are going to be in for them as well, and they've got Premier League money this season. So, it is difficult. If we get to the end of the window, Smarty, would you worry then?
I'd be looking at
without signing anybody is what I mean.
Yeah. So initially, like Luke's already said, I'm not panicking at the minute, but like for me, your best kind of players are always late on in the window anyway. You might have potential clubs out there looking to put their decent players in and around other clubs, not necessarily just in the Championship, but around Europe as well. They'll be keeping all of them to see what options are on the table towards the end of the transfer window. So you do pick up some absolute, little gems towards there. Well, yeah, I'm not worried as yet. We've all seen, from summer that the 49ers like to go around the business. I mean, I've seen someone say, I'm sick of seeing this 49ers like to go about the business quietly. There's evidence to support it. Our transfer window in summer, they do exactly the same in the NFL, across the pond in America. The evidence is there. They're not the type of people to start shitting themselves and signing fucking players willy-nilly.
Would they prefer then, Smarty, that we had an Andrea Radrizzani saying we'd signed somebody who we hadn't signed and actually tried signing for somebody else?
Adam Forshaw.
Yeah.
Adam Forshaw.
Bamba Dieng. Yeah, they didn't even sign for us at all after it being announced.
We'll go in. We'll go in again. In the next transfer, it's like fuck off. We don't have a dickhead like that running the show anymore. We've got some actual proper professionals that are running this ship. And they're keeping their lips tight, and that's what you want to see. It's pointless. Talking about fucking rumors and we might get this guy or we might get this guy. At the end of the day, like Luke's already said, we want people to come in and improve the squad. It's going to be hard because, like I said, the players that are here are already established. So it's going to be hard for them to get game time. So your best sort of players that are going to be in and amongst, them sort of potential transfer moves are going to be right at the end of the window anyway. There's a chance you might get some game time at Leeds. Do you want to go? Yeah, fuck it, go on then, I'll go. Those are the sort of players you want. You don't want the people that are absolutely desperate to get out of their clubs. Like, people have already been picked up by Southampton and Leicester, and so I'm not saying that they'll be shit, but what I'm saying is I'd rather hang on till the actual death and see if we can pick up a couple of gems.
The ones that we actually want.
The ones that we actually want and think they'll be obviously beneficial to our team. So as like Luke, I'm not worried just yet.
Fairs. Carl, Italian-Irish Carl is in the house. Pod Dodger says, right back then we can start to move Gray into midfield. Now, here's the thing. Given the rise of Gruev, because he's played well for the last couple of games, so we'll give him his dues, it's really difficult, actually, to fit all of the midfielders we'd like to play into midfield. So even if we sign a right-back, do we think that they would play from the start, or do you think they would have to play their way into the side and wait for their opportunities, whoever comes in, given how difficult it is to actually get midfielders into our team when Ampadu would be my first choice in there? All right, he's playing at centre-back at the moment because of absenteeism, but at the same point, those players are going to come back at some point. Yeah. Looking at our midfield, where you've got Kamara's had good games, Gruev's playing well at the moment, Ampadu's one of the players of the season for me, if not the player of the season so far in midfield, and Archie Gray's a little star. Can you even fit him in midfield right now, or do you just play him at right back?
I think the only way you can look at it is quite simply, does Archie Gray make our midfield that much better that we think we could bring in a right back that's so much better than Archie Gray?
And end up with a midfielder that's been playing well on the bench?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it sensibly, no, it's not. And look, Archie Gray, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's not a right back by trade. He is a central midfielder. He's played right back for England at youth level. But he's playing against people that have been playing in this league for 10, 15 years, some of them. And he's not looked out of place. He's come up against some good players in Jack Clark and the first game against Preston, and I keep forgetting the lad's name who scored the winner. But Millar, that's it, yeah. But he hasn't looked out of place. He's looked solid, and he's looked like he belongs there. So even if we could tempt a quality right back into the squad this window, they would not automatically start over Archie Gray, because that would mean Archie Gray would likely have to be dropped or rested, because Archie Gray doesn't naturally just walk straight into the midfield over Gruev, Ampadu and Camera, I don't think. So it's very, very difficult. And Fact's got a real job on his hands to try and keep, first of all, everybody happy with game time and playing time, especially when, what sort of message would that send if we brought in, I don't know, let's use Nico Williams as an example, who's great going forward, and he's very much a good right back. But what sort of message would that send if we brought him in and dropped Archie Gray based on playing well? You know what I mean? So, it's tough. It's a very tough position to be in. And whilst things are going well at the moment, it's easy to say that it's a tough decision to make. Now, we might go and get beat tomorrow night and then get beat at Plymouth in the Cup at the weekend, and a couple of players might have poor performances, and everyone will be saying, told you we should have fucking signed the right back, told you we should have got somebody else in at left back. You know what I mean? It's hindsight, and it's so easy to say after a poor performance that we need a particular position. But as things are, I think that's why I'm so calm about it. Because the performances have been relatively good, and we've picked up sort of almost maximum points recently. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough. It's a tough question.
That's one of the reasons why Bielsa wanted a smaller squad as well, isn't it? Because he didn't believe in, rotating that many players around and keeping people happy. That's why we had a small squad. I can't say the same with Farke. I know that he's openly said that he wants to have additions in certain areas, but how many do you take on? We've got, well, depending on how much you can depend on Sam Byram, he can fill in both positions. Firpo, for now, he might get injured tomorrow. Hopefully, touch wood. Oh no, that it won't do. But you've got Shackleton as well, waiting in the wings. So I think perhaps one addition, maybe that can play both positions and fill in as and when required. But even if you do bring a new player in, it's going to take him a couple of weeks to get into the swing of things anyway. So by then Verpo probably might be injured, or might be injured again. So he probably goes straight into the team anyway. But yeah,
Nico Williams is a good shout though, because he's Welsh, so we're going to be linked with him. So there's an absolute possibility it could well come in if he's
Connor Roberts as well. We've been linked with, haven't we?
Yeah, Nico Williams all day long, absolutely all day long. But at the end of the day, if you've got a talented squad and they're going to be vying for positions, they're going to be jostling for positions, then at the end of the day, the best player wins, don't they? It's got to be a little bit cutthroat at the end of the day. If you bring in someone who's better than Archie Gray, then sorry, mate.
Yeah. But then Archie Gray goes up against somebody else.
I'm not a scout, mate. I don't know. So fucking Joe Boggs, who's fucking playing. I'm not one of them sort of people who can start picking fucking players that have only been rumoured for half an hour on Twitter.
I think right back Archie Gray starts at right back. I think Byram can play there. Shaq can play there. Firpo is the only recognised left back that we've got with Byram. Obviously, being able to play there, but we look so much better with a left-footed left back anyway. So I would like a proper left-footed left back who can defend and potentially play in the games where we might be under a bit more pressure, where Firpo's likely going to struggle defensively. That would be my ideal choice. And then a number 10 who can just old man and just move teams about naturally without moving. Literally just find pockets of space and those killer passes and can nutmeg a mermaid, shall we say.
For Pablo. We're looking for a Pablo.
Yeah, Pablo, pretty much, So somebody a bit older, a bit more experienced, who could dictate the tempo a bit as well. Because I think Rutter's doing well in there. I just worry that it's all very alien to him. He's never played there before. We're expecting him to be able to play as a number 10 in a promotion side. And it's a new job to him. So. There will be games where he goes quiet and missing, shall we say? But again, that's all down to experience. And if we had somebody with a bit more experience, that's when if he was struggling, bring Rutter off and bring this old head on for the last 10, 15, even 30 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Just to see if we can unlock something and do something a little bit new and a bit different.
Yeah, and one of the things that I said early on in the season when we were talking about potential signings is I wanted a Strachan type, which kind of is a Pablo type. It is that older head, but it's the ultimate professional. When you look at the impact that Strachan had, it was said that, the diet that he had, the way that he trained, the way he looked after himself outside of training and football and everything else improved everybody around him. Bielsa said that Pablo improved Bielsa. You can't really get a higher accolade than that. So I think
this isn't a bad shout. Somebody like that.
In. If only you want made a biscuit.
Yeah. But even if you're only expecting him to play half an hour a game, 20, 25 minutes a game.
That's Adam Lallana for those that are listening to the pod.
Adam the Llama.
Adam Lallana.
Can you make a noise like a llama? What noise does a llama make?
Could not tell you, mate.
No,
Don't know.
I think it's something like this. Bit like it's like a camel crossed with a sheep.
Okay. Thanks for that. That's not.
I'd say that was more of a cow cross with a sheep, if I'm honest. But whatever. What do camels sound like?
Can we get off this? I don't know how we've got here, but let's.
There'll be some border collies in someone's front room.
Where's Hooligan shout? I like that, Danny. I like that shout. Oh, it's not Danny. It's Kev, isn't it?
Kev, yeah. Kev and James.
Buendia. Somebody that had the impact that Buendia had at Norwich.
But he was a bit different. He was a bit younger, but somebody just with a little bit of an old
somebody
man.
that had that impact. Yeah.
Yes, somebody who could come in and just do something a little bit different. Just actually pick up the ball and.
But where do you fit that player in to squad though?
They come off the bench. They're a bench player. They're backup.
Well, yeah, but damn well it's only going to be 70 minutes plus. So how much impact are they going to have the game at that point?
Also true.
Well, that's what
we know what Farker's like with his subs. Yeah.
Well, Pablo could change a game in 20 minutes.
True.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to say there that we are absolutely not advocating Jesse Lingard at this point. Who has offered himself to Barcelona?
I thought someone had put something in the comments and
No, Henderson's gone to Ajax. Yeah, Lingard has offered himself to Barcelona.
I've offered myself to Rita Ora.
Yes, we'll see what she says. Just while we mention other players going elsewhere, obviously Kalvin has moved on to West Ham. Do we give a shit? Do we care?
I think it's a great move for him. And I know. There's certain people think he's a bit of a mercenary and whatever else, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. And I stand by that. He still loves Leeds. He was at the game the other week, and for him and for England, I'm glad he's got a move because he does deserve playing time. He's a good player and he's been wasted at City. I think City still signed him just to avoid Man United scum and fucking Liverpool and fucking everybody else from signing him. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the reason they signed him. Simply just to keep others from signing him because now James West Ham probably aren't going to be in the mix come the end of the season. So if they've got an option to buy him, that suits City because West Ham aren't going to be pushing for league titles probably in the next few years, and it suits them because he's getting some playing time. I think it's going to be good for England as well moving forward.
Yeah, I absolutely think he's a mercenary. I think it was a really, really stupid move for him to make. I think they were only there in Real that he could go to and not be pretty much guaranteed playing time, and he went to one of them. And he's collected his medals, but he's watched other people win them.
Would you rather he went to Scum?
Massive money. Well, no, absolutely not. Of course not. But he could have gone pretty much anywhere in the world. I think the only sides that he want guaranteed playing time were Man City and Real Madrid, because Real Madrid had two quality players in that position. And he's absolutely never getting in front of Rodri because he's a monster. No. So yeah, I suppose it's all right if he goes and he plays and he goes, and he does well for England because I want England to do well. So it's all well and good, and it's all swings and roundabouts, as they say.
I'm surprised West Ham didn't go for him earlier when they let Rice go to Arsenal. To be honest with you, because he's almost the ideal replacement.
There wasn't that much heat around Phillips then, though, were there?
Nah, there wasn't.
It's only, it's not recent, but, it's been this season where Pep's, publicly apologised and said, I can't do anything with him, basically. And it's been made, obviously, apparent that he's going to be moving on in January on loan or, whatever. But, to have that kind of player just sat on a bench collecting medals, yes, fantastic. But just sat there on a bench wasting away. He's a quality player, isn't he? He's one of our best players. And when he were at Leeds, I absolutely adored him.
But in his mind, Smarty, do you not think he thought he was good enough? And do you not respect that ambition?
A player's always going to back himself. Patrick Bamford fucking backs himself to the absolute hilt. So chuffing Kalvin Phillips is going to do, isn't he? Absolutely.
And he's 28 now. He absolutely needs.
He needs game time. He needs game time. The Euros this year, he needs to move on, and I think he will do well at West Ham. I hope he manages to get to kind of resurrect his career, and I would love to see him playing football again, because it's a shame. It's an absolute shame that we don't see him playing football. I don't care that he's gone anywhere else. We all said that he would go in there to sit on the frigging bench and just waste away. I don't think he would have left Leeds to go to West Ham initially.
I had some absolute pelters when I was saying he's never ever going to play. I had some absolute pelters early on. He's definitely he's England's best midfielder. He's definitely going to play. He's replacing Fernandinho, and there's game time there for him and all of that. And it just wouldn't. It would never. The right wrong from the start.
All of us on here said that he were going to just basically sit on a bench, didn't we? I think collectively.
Yeah, I think so. It's more on the cesspit that is Twitter that I'm referring to.
But there's some absolute fucking morons on there. There's some absolute morons.
Lots of them.
Hi.
So no, that's fair. Luke, I think you just had a question just before we move on to the next.
Just really quickly before we move on to the next bit. We were talking before about who'd had a good, who'd been playing well, everything. Just really curious to hear from everybody in the comments, really, and you two. Who, if the season ended now, who would be your player of the season thus far?
Ooh.
So I am torn between a few, obviously, because we've had some really, really good performances. If you think of Jimmy and his output has really been up there. Dan James and his output's been right up there as well. I'm not going a flair player. I love Rodon. He plays exactly as I wanted to play as a centre-back when I was playing football. But for me, at this point in time, especially now that he's changed his position because the side needs it, and he's dropped a bit deeper, which is a natural position for him because he's played there before. But for me, the impact that he's had in midfield and at centre-back, for me, it's Ampadu at the moment.
Why are you smiling?
I'm going
to put our three options in a poll in a minute, and then I'm going to put other, and we'll just see what people think.
I think your top answers will probably be your Dan James, your Rodons, your Ampadus. But for me, the player of the season so far, personally, is Archie Gray. I think he's done absolutely exceptionally well. He's made some cracking performances. He's literally taken his position in the team by the scruff of the neck. He's playing in a position where he shouldn't really be playing. It's not his natural position, and he's excelling. And he's 17 years old. I expected Dan James. I expected Somerville. I expected them sort of players, your Rodons and even your Ampadus who have played at the Premier League. I expect them to play well in the Championship. Taking a 17-year-old kid out of the academy and sticking him in first team and watching him excel every week is massively underrated. So for me, it's Archie Gray for me.
Fair. I mean, I think you've probably taken into account his age and everything there. In terms of actually our best players this season, it's between Dan James and Somerville for me. And I think first
and Rutter's worth a shout as well.
Dan James, because of his attitude and being literally sacked off by the club and told to go on loan last season and coming back just with the right attitude. I've always been a big fan of Dan James. His end product's improved. So he would be mine. But I think Somerville probably just because of the way he can change a game. So I'm going to put those three up.
Somerville's best player in league.
Yeah, Somerville, Ampadu, and Gray.
I would take that. There's no way I'd argue against that. There's one or two that you could the other fan bases would argue, but I think Jimmy's the best player in this league this season.
Yeah,
comfortably. Cool. So the poll's up now. If anybody wants to vote, that's all I wanted to do. Sorry, cheers.
Cool. Yeah, no worries. So we've now got one of these.
Hey, has got a shit tick this week, my little spat of fact.
I'm so glad we did that.
Ace,
isn't it? It's ace.
Do you know what? I really wish we could get him on pod, but never mind.
We'll keep trying.
So, Smarty, I'm going to come to you. Shit take of the week. Have we got one?
The only one that I've seen, which I don't have a screenshot, I can only apologise for because we're ace, is someone called Saints Statistics. And I saw it on Twitter this afternoon, and he's basically gone on to say that, Championship promotion race as it stands, Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton, they've got the forms and this, that and the other. He went on to say that Saints have momentum, but can Ipswich Town hold their lead? I'm not sure if it's the first or I'm not sure if first is doable, as Leicester are 8 points ahead, but with Leeds United out of the picture, he says, anything could happen. So I went on to obviously to engage with this fellow, and I said Leeds are out of the picture. Saints still have to play Leicester, Ipswich, Leeds, and West Brom away. It's a bold statement with us only being 4 points behind, but that was fucking bookmarked. I don't know whether this guy did it for clickbait or whatever. I don't think he was, because he was replying to everyone with quite serious replies and stuff like that. So I know obviously you guys have seen it. I know, Gilly, you've got your take on it or whatever, but that's got to be an absolute fucking belter for me this week. For me, first place isn't even tied up yet. With Saints' form as it is, you know, they're well within their rights to challenge for that first place. It only takes Leicester to wake up a little bit. And, you know, I mean, Southampton, it's just so wide open. Nothing's sewn up at this stage in the league, especially with how this fucking league's going this year. It's a complete freak year. Anything can chuffing happen. You know, there's a good chance even bloody Leeds and Saints could finish in top 2, and Leicester could have a dip in form. They haven't had a dip in form yet, Leicester.
Well, they have. They're in it. They've
had a little bit of a stutter, but I don't mean like an absolute fall off a cliff sort of dip in form that, you know, that Leeds would potentially normally have or something like that. You know,
on the 22nd, the 23rd of December, Ipswich were 12 points clear of third. They're now 4 points clear of third and only 5 points clear of us. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? You know, I think they've won 1 in 8 in the league. Ipswich won 1 in 8.
1 in 7, but they've only lost 1 in 7 as well, because there's a load of draws in there. But they were turning those draws into wins early in season, and it looks like that's kind of eroded. Leicester, 1 point from last 6. The last 6 points, not the last 6 games. Drawn 1, lost 1. So, you know, both of them are stuttering. I don't think it's an excess to say. Southampton's Southampton's form is good. There's 1 draw in that last 5. The others are all wins. So Southampton's form is good. But our home form, you know, still unbeaten, and the only side in the Football League to still be unbeaten at home at this point in the season. So, you know, it's a nice position to be in, really. I think I do have a different opinion on that one. I think that we're absolutely fishing for interactions. And Leeds' fan base is notorious for biting.
Absolutely. There were some absolute chompers in them comments. Like, absolutely. His net were full of wrigglers, definitely. But
the
one myself included.
Oh, go on then. You go first then.
It's just Ryan Lowe's after the match interview with regards to the penalty. Said that the ball slipped up off his body and hit him on the arm. And if VAR was there, then it wouldn't have been a penalty. What a dickhead.
Now, you saw the game on TV, so you'd have had benefit of replays. I've seen a still several times, but obviously I was at the game, so I didn't get to see a replay. It didn't look to me like it hit his body. It just hit his body.
Yeah, it's literally just spun up and his arms outstretched, pretty much like that.
Yeah. So
I think he were anticipating for him
like
to
this,
hit his body.
With ref. Afterwards, he's like this with his arms down, going, ref, my arms are down here. The one out here, it was like Sterling running.
They're both out, yeah. You look like bloody Zebedee off Magic Roundabout.
You look like you were doing I'm a little fucking teapot or something with right arm stuck out like that. I think he generally anticipated the ball to hit him in chest.
Is that your spout then, your right arm, is it, if you're doing that dance smart, is it, usually?
How do you do it? I don't know. You're doing an Egyptian walk or something. We need to make a still of him as well.
Right arm, actually.
Fuck's sake. Tell you what. You don't get this on any other podcast, do you? Hey, fucking
like
ace.
Look at that. Did you see that cobra then when he put his guns up?
Is that a pregnant snake you've got there, Gilly? Ticket to the gun show, please.
I've got one as well, and I can't get my head around anybody denigrating the performances of these two individuals, but there was one called the Objective Leeds fan who said, watching James and Gray on the right against the low block will be the death of me. Neither are ever going to take a man on. I mean,
oh my God! Just on Dan James. What about that ball when he actually played it into Bamford, and Bamford just left it? This is when it led to the chip. Dan James was just fucking ran around, collected the ball.
He did what?
Bamford. He went, And then
What, the
literally chipped
Roadrunner?
it
Meep, meep.
a couple of inches, and he was celebrating a wonder goal
Yeah,
there.
it was good, that one. It was good.
It was.
He played onto his own through ball, didn't he? Bless him.
Yeah.
Class.
But to say that James and Gray are never going to take a man on, that's astounding to me. It
Gray's
really
class,
is.
isn't he? I can see where he's coming from with James because he's not the most technical, is he? But by fuck he can run and he can just knock it past them, you know. And that's all you need. As soon as Dan James, I mean, it's not just about that. That's not part of his game as a winger. You know, he likes to get stuck in. I mean, we saw it against Cardiff when he closed them 2 defenders down, and then they ended up on their ass and they were away with ball. That's what his attribute is. His speed and he's just a tenacious little shit, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He defends and in attack, and that's what's brilliant.
Yeah. He's like a frigging rapid bloody dog just chasing the ball everywhere. He's like, and he's fucking running like fuck, and then he's chasing down the keeper, and then he's off again, and you know it's just brilliant. Where the frigging hell does he get all his energy from?
Fuck knows.
So the player of the season, I've just ended it. Ampadu and Other both drew on 30%. So Other is pretty much everyone else in the team. Somerville got 25%, and then Gray with 12. So that's that one. I'm going to also do a quick poll now.
People won't be upset when Gray leaves. Only 12% of fans will be upset.
I don't think that was the question, was it?
No, it's fine.
Stop trying to make him feel bad because you did
You
worse.
shit
Smarty.
out. Yeah, I know fuck all. We all know that.
You shit house. Did you say you're going to put another one up, Luke?
Yeah, just going to do the shit take of the week. See who's the biggest shit take.
Cool. I'm just going to spin through some comments while you get that going then.
Go for it.
Chris Frost says, evening lads, are you all going tomorrow night? I'm taking my little lad with me tomorrow. Are we all there?
I'm not.
You're not making the journey up. It's a long way for you on a midweek fixture, isn't it?
It is.
So yes, I shall be there. I can't remember where I'm sat. I might be in Cheese with him. But yeah, I will be there. And this is the way they shithouse that game makes the win so much sweeter. Can't argue with that one. Paul Brendan in the house. It was justice served up against Preston. What a bunch of thugs. If that was 25 years ago, we could have sorted these jokers out.
Thugs. Thugs. He is a scholar of emojis, isn't he, Paul? I love it.
He is. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. Jonathan Brook, Preston are the dirtiest team I've ever seen at Elland Road, and I've been going since the mid-90s. Wow.
Surely Leeds used to be dirtiest team at Elland Road.
Oh, surely. No, yeah, but you can't look at that, can you? As much as that ref was a wank stain of a clown, give me that type of game over any game involving VAR any day. From Johnny Brown. 100%. Whose young one was at the game again, so still got his 100% record.
Agent Alfie.
Yeah, we keep that going. Yeah.
Is Johnny there is Johnny there tomorrow, is he?
That's what he was saying, I think, isn't it? Me and Agent Alfie.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, cool.
Chris, I'm guessing Gillette. The ref could have made that game more of a football match. Had no control over over what was happening. Only good thing he did was give us a blatant pen.
Is it Gillette or is it Julie?
Yes, Gillette.
I used to get that sometimes at football rather than Gilly. Give me some shit. Gilly
and his chinos.
I used to get Minge.
Right, okay. From your name. Right, okay. It took me a while. I used to get Minge was all I had then.
My rugby coach used to shout. Honestly, I'd be running.
I'm going
to say we're still live.
And my rugby coach.
I used to get Minge. I used to get loads of Minge, me.
And because my name's surname is quite unusual, and not, he used to change the spelling of it in the Wake Express or whatever when I'd scored or whatever. Honestly, there was some absolutely wild shit going around. I'll try and dig some of them out, man. They're funny as fuck.
Danny Rums is in the house as well. It's the first time since the 69 to 70 we've had 3 attacking players on double figures before March. There's a stat. Nice. Like that one. Mr. Dodo's with us. But Luke, you're supposed to be moaning that we haven't signed a full 11 to replace our team. That's what Twitter tells us, right?
Fuck Twitter.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Smarty. I spoke over you then, pal.
That's fine. I was agreeing. I was saying,
all right.
Yes, absolutely.
49ers are professional people. That's Jammy. Talking about the signings, I suspect. Paul Brennan again. Willie apparently is staying. That might be down to Somerville possibly staying. Stay till the end of the summer. Leeds offering a new contract. Has anybody heard anything about that?
Just what Phil Hayes put out, I think,
Yeah.
and various other people close to Leeds United. I'm all for it. I don't think it's as important as we think. I think it'll probably include release clauses if we don't get promoted and whatever else to allow him to move on. If it'll probably put up his wages a little bit because obviously he came in on relatively low wages as a 21s player or 23s. I think he might have been even back then. Obviously made an impact last season. Hasn't had a new contract since, so we'll probably just put him in line with other players around his caliber and age, and probably insert a clause or two in there to allow him to spread his wings if we don't get promoted.
Which is fair. You know, I think from a club stance and from a player stance, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he goes this window, do you?
Well, not if he's given a new contract. No, I wouldn't suspect so. I don't think he would anyway, to be honest. I think I think we're in a position where we've got a settled side, but he's part of a settled side coming from the bench. So yeah, I don't think he goes anywhere this window for me. Nige says 49ers can't make the same mistakes as the previous regime. Think all's okay now. Then Firpo, Byram, and Bamford all get injured in February. Defensive recruitment's needed. I think we all said about at least one defender, more a left back than anything else, but somebody that can play right-sided as well if it comes to it. Not like Spence, who was just lost when he was trying to do anything with his left, wasn't he? Yeah. Always cut back in on his right.
He made his debut, played 90 minutes at left wing back the other night. Who's he gone to? Elche.
Genoa.
Genoa, sorry. Genoa, yeah, Genoa.
Don't know.
It's Genoa because the Spurs signed the
that's right.
Romanian centre back.
Yeah, good luck with that name.
Yeah,
but I think that is fair on the basis that we know that we've got injury-prone players that are playing at the moment. So there's going to be some changes and moves as we go through the season. There's a lot of games in this league. Leads out. Did you say this is Kev? Do you think Nonto signs new deal and then goes out on loan? I think we've probably just answered that. I don't think it goes out on loan. You guys think it would go anywhere?
No, I think we're all right this season. I think he's going to give us till the end of this season. He's going to have an improved salary to push him, probably some bonuses as well, based on promotion, but also the clauses we spoke about. So I can't really see it. If he's really that unhappy, we would have probably heard about it by now through Farker and his press conferences, as we did with.
He doesn't turn to all back, does he?
Nah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, that's fair. And Johnny Brown says Alfie said hi.
Hi,
I did have another comment.
Hello.
Hi, Alfie. Thank you for attending and getting us 3 points.
If you make it to 35 undefeated at home, your dad's going to have to buy you some sort of present, and you heard it from us first.
I'll buy you a pint.
Johnny, and this ain't like no fucking fruit shoots or like a load of fucking Capri Suns or something. A proper nice present for him, Johnny. Like a nice shirt or something. There you go.
Not a guitar.
No.
It's his brother who plays the guitar.
Yeah, it's...
Well, yeah, but you want to get them all into it if you can.
Lennon's the guitarist, isn't he?
I actually can't find it now, but the last comment, it was the third to last comment I had was from Carl and Carl McMichael, not Carl Pod Dodger.
It was to do with FFP, wasn't it?
It was, but I unstarred it before showing it, which is just a schoolboy error. The point was that it was just going to be dictated by...
Yeah.
I'll have a flick through, see if I can find it for you.
Well, no, that's all it was. It was Leeds business will be dictated by FFP, I think was the point you were making.
Yeah.
So, moving on then. We've talked about the fact that we've had no real incomings. We've talked about the Preston game and the lineup that we had. Smarty, I'll come to you first. Do you see any major changes coming in the lineup for the Norwich game?
Nope. You don't change a winning squad.
A winning squad?
Well, yeah.
A winning team.
Can keep the bench same as well.
Keep everything as it is. Don't change anything.
Everything's the same. Nothing ever, unless someone gets injured. Yeah, that is basically how that's my mantra. You don't change a winning team at all. There's plenty of time to make changes at the weekend, but it's absolutely crucial that we make the best of it tomorrow. So yeah, I would play the same team tomorrow.
And Luke?
Yeah, pretty much unanimous with that, mate. Can't see how you can drop any of them, really. Nobody's looking that leggy. Ampadu doing a solid job in there at centre-back. Great to see him and Gruev interchanging as well at times. When Ampadu feels like bringing it out from the back, you see Gruev drop in there, which is something we didn't see that much with Ampadu and Pascal. Although Pascal was bringing it out, Ampadu still sort of stuck. And although he dropped a little bit deeper, he didn't sort of sit back into centre-back. In terms of attacking options, how can you drop Dan James? How can you drop Rutter or Somerville? You can't. Don't really have another option for Bamford, but I still think he deserves to be played anyway. So, yeah, same starting 11 for me. Happy with that.
So, to play that back to... So, I agree as well. Do you expect some significant changes in the Plymouth game?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In the Cup? Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll see some more fringe players get some minutes.
Yeah, general consensus there is no changes in the league game, changes in the Cup game.
Absolutely.
Whatever that might end up being. I think that might be dictated by some of the players coming back. Nonto had a hip issue, didn't he? So wasn't fully fit. So he might start if he does he not like him?
Hippies.
Okay.
Like
okay.
Might not like hippies. Who does like hippies? Anyway. Carry on.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay. I think we will. I think we will see some of the players. Yeah, I think Pirot probably starts in the Cup. I don't think he'll start in the Norwich game, but I think he'll start.
I'd like to see Pirot in the number 9.
I think we all would.
In the number
especially 9. With how well Rutter's done at 10, which I think we all suspected he would. But given that.
Paveda.
Yeah, but at least Pirot get a chance at 9, where we've not seen him yet. He's kind of played a false 9, hasn't he, rather than being an actual 9.
What are your thoughts on Paveda?
He's too hot and cold, isn't he?
He's not old. He's lukewarm for me. He's not even. He don't even get hot. I've never been that impressed by any performance from him ever. I don't think.
Is he Tyler Roberts? He always looks like he might be about to do something good, but actually never produces anything.
When you watch the kid warm up, you think, "Fucking hell, this lad." When you look at his bloody CV, all the clubs that he's been at Man City, Arsenal, Barcelona. You just think, Christ on a bike, and he's ended up with us in Championship. But when you actually see him, he runs around a lot, but doesn't seem to contribute a right lot. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Trains like Tarzan, plays like Jane.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really. If he went tomorrow, I'd be like, right, cheers, all the best, see you, bye. I would not give two shits. He just really doesn't do out for me, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. I quite rate him, although I quite rate him on the wings. I think we've only seen him at 10 a couple of times, haven't we? So it might be an interesting one, but for me, I would like to see Pirot up front. And let's just see how he gets on. Let's give him an opportunity. I think we've all looked at. He's got quite a languid style. He does arrive late in the box. Playing the 9's a different role. Can he do it? Well, we'll know when we get to see him. I would like to see him given an opportunity. So just to come on to the Norwich predictions then. So as is usual, we go in league place in order. So I'm going to go first, and it will be a surprise to nobody at all that I'm going to go 3-1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which has been my prediction for the. I've only been one off for ages because we keep winning 3-0. Luke, you're next in the league.
2-0.
Clean sheet, yeah. Wow. Smarty?
I'm going 3-0.
Woof.
2-0. No, we're joking.
You're getting ahead of yourselves in the comments. We've got to give you the on your marks, get set, go before you start giving the fucking comments.
They're already in. I am going to take. I am going to take one. However, John Garside had the last one, so I'm going to take the next one just to share it around a bit, which is Paul Brennan as I read the comments, and that would be a Leeds 2-1 win.
Leeds.
And
Scooby-Doo.
And yeah, so I think now I am going to pass over to you, Luke, for a bit of a special thing.
So, just let me get it. 2 seconds. I managed to find it.
It is new. It is not worn. The nipple marks.
I managed to find it. So it's not this one. I've had this on for a reason, but we said at the start of the season that once our man Joel
get out it bag, lad. Get out it bag. Get it out.
Once our man Joel gets to
wave it around a bit.
Fuck it up, innit?
Can't speak.
Gets to. I'm not going to be able to fold it very well. So whoever does win this, I do apologise. But our man once
it was screwed up in a bag.
Once our man Joel Pirot got to 10 league goals, we said we'd give that shirt away right at the start of the season. He did that at the weekend with his match-winning penalty. So what I am going to do is load up the Twitter picker. That's what it's called. It is actually called the Twitter picker. And I mean, we're going to do this live.
We could let Luke wear it if that's your bag. You know,
it's the same one. I mean, I can
and then not wash it.
I can walk on it with dirty feet and that if you like. It costs an extra £5.
Go to Jim in it and then package it up straight away.
Just wipe his hairy toes across the collar.
So I'm just gonna.
Hey, I tell you what, Jammy's going to be buying it off whoever wins it, if that's the case.
Right, be flooding them. I'll give you $1,000 now.
So good luck to everybody who has entered. And just bear with me 2 seconds. I'm going to add this to the stage, and you can see that it's all done randomly. We've got loaded up, the tweets loaded up, and I think if I just click entries there, we can see everybody's just loaded in. And then we do draw, and then we begin the draw, and we have a winner. John _ Carney.
Right.
So,
I was slightly nervous, as I said in the build-up to this, that it was going to end up being a pawn bot that won. I suspect John Carney is not a pawn bot, but let's just double-check.
Pawn bot.
No, it looks legit. It looks legit. It looks a Leeds fan, and well done to John Carney.
Well done, John the pawn bot Carney.
He's got a double underscore in his name. I wonder what that means. Or is it just how he's set it up? I suppose it's how he's set it up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, maybe
there's already a John underscore
had already gone. Yeah.
So well done, John. We'll get in touch, and I will get that posted out to you at some point this week, and might have it in time for the Plymouth game at the weekend with any luck.
Ooh, nice one. Congratulations, pal. So we've only got one thing to cover off, but I'll come to each of you. Anything else to add before we bring it to a close?
Nothing.
Sorry, I was just trying to work out. I was trying to work out.
What is thinking out then?
I could smell it while I was thinking.
Anything else to add? Oh, just the recent supercomputer that's been done since the game last night. I haven't got the graphic, unfortunately, but there was the supercomputer did a recalculation last night after the Ipswich and Leicester game, and it's still actually bizarrely and mentally still has us finishing second on the same amount of points as Ipswich, but going up automatically on goal difference. So if you believe in supercomputers and octopuses and all that can pick all different results, then hey, get a bet on Leeds to get automatically promoted.
Does it have Leicester as first still? Sorry.
Yes, it still has Leicester first. I can't remember what they finished on. Over 100 points, if you remember rightly, though. And I was on 92 with
joint with Ipswich, but ahead on goal difference.
Goal difference,
yeah. And just the last thing from me before we get on to just one thing that we've got in the brand is on this day in 1960, a certain Billy Bremner made his first of 772 appearances for the club. What a guy.
Legend.
And just the last thing to mention is for Andy's Man Club. So the walk and talk was on Sunday, so we've missed that one. But there is a pool night at Northern Snooker starting at 6:30 p.m. on Friday the 26th. That's Friday coming. And they do ask for small donations to the tables, but it's not essential. On Sunday the 28th, Barber Club at W2 Barbers on Easterly Road, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Come down, get your hair cut, or just have a chat. Pay as you feel. All proceeds
got
go
it.
to Andy's Man Club. Aye. Cool.
We
right.
should go on one of them walks.
Well, you say that because come March we are.
That's true. That is true. So it'd be good.
I've already started training for it.
Good practice for it.
I think I might have to pull out.
That was why.
Because I can't walk.
I mean, that is a significant inhibitor for a walk.
Fundamental requirement.
I can't put one foot in front of the other, even with, and I can do it, but I don't think I'll be able to do it for that far. So yeah,
It's 17 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Right,
that'd be appreciated. And obviously,
you've still got to come. So what we're gonna have to do is get you one of them little mobility scooters or something, just so you're there, because you are not fucking shitting out of this one. You are coming. So even if I have to fucking carry you around, fucking carry you on my shoulders.
Actually, you could put a crate on back of his mobility scooter as well. We can just have some beers all the way around.
That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Stick him in a wheelbarrow and just wheel him around, and just pissed up in a wheelbarrow.
Pennyfoot Luke.
Yeah.
Right, and on that really weird note, I mean, not as weird as making camel and llama noises.
No.
What?
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and do all of that jazz and all of that
give us
shit
a
and
thumbs
go
up and
retweet
all that
all of the stuff and give us all of them stuff. And
Yeah.
if you go and comment on anything that's to do with us, then it helps our ratios for other people finding us. Even if you go, these losers are a bunch of shithouses. That
Check
still
out these
helps us.
dickheads.
So,
They don't know a fucking clue what they're talking about.
That's it. That's our tagline. So cool.
I used to
Last
get
thing, Luke?
binge.
Fuck you, hell.